Good day, LinkedIn colleagues. This is John Herrera, president of MuniTemps, Municipal Staffing Solutions, with the City Speak blog and podcast on the topic of don't let Chicken Little affect your decision-making process. For those of us who are familiar with Chicken Little and the story of Chicken Little has an acorn hit him on the head and he yells, "The sky is falling." How many of you have noticed how many Chicken Littles there are all around us? All you have to do is go into the news media, regardless of whether it's social media or whether it's one of the channels on television. There's lots of news that are oriented towards this Chicken Little, what's the word that we use to describe when it's very sensationalist? Because news needs to be able to be advertising revenue for the news outlets. So if they have to choose between making money and reporting objective, accurate information news, they're probably going to go with the money side, right? But that's what the topic of today's LinkedIn article and the City Speak blog and article is about. Chicken Little, sensationalist reporting to get your attention. For those of you that are old enough, you probably have to be at least late 40s, 50s, 60s, and older to remember the names Walter Cronkite, Dan Rather, Harry Reasoner, and many other very objective reporters that we relied upon for the truth, for news about what's going on in the world, in our country, in our state, in our locality. There's just too much of this sensationalist reporting. The sky is falling, the sky is falling. Chicken Little. And I'd say to you is that don't let these into your decision-making process. Now, am I saying that we don't have problems? Of course we have problems. We've had these problems. Well, I'm 59 years old, and during my 59 years of life, I've seen so many different problems throughout my life. I was born right before World War III could have broken out between the United States and Russia, when President John F. Kennedy was just minutes from making a major decision to declare war on Russia if those submarines didn't make a U-turn and go back to Cuba or wherever they came from. And yet they didn't happen. So I was born, thank God. And then there was the Vietnam War. This was a terrible time in the world and for the United States. Then we had the major inflationary periods in the early 1970s during Richard M. Nixon's candidacy. Remember Richard Nixon? He had to be removed. He was impeached from office. This was tragic for the country. We survived that. Then there was so many other things that happened after that. Economically, we were looking at inflation that was so high back in the early 1980s that the Federal Reserve Chairman, Paul Volcker, had to raise interest rates to 18, 19, 20%. Right now, Jerome Powell was fiddling around with his buddies on bringing the rate up to 3 or 4%. And we're going, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. We've had rates up in 18%, 16, 17, 18%. When I bought my first house, I paid 8% mortgage, and that was the going rate. So when we hear people saying, oh my gosh, interest rates are going up, the economy is going to fall, that's sensationalist reporting that is opportunistic, because there are people that want everything to either go sky high or way down low because they are profit takers. But not us, right? LinkedIn colleagues? No, we're solid. We're not going to let the Chicken Littles of the world affect our decision making. We have to be focused on long term. We have to be focused on making decisions that take all the objective data, and it's all about the data. It's not about people's comments or feelings or notions or hunches. We have to use data, and we have to understand that 50 years from now, 100 years from now, we will look back and we'll say we did this well, we didn't do very well here, we did disastrous here, whatever. We have problems. We do have problems. Our water supply in California, the temperature in many areas of the United States, yeah, it's been very hot. Today's cooler. It's nice. I get to put my tie on again. But yeah, we're living through difficult times. Our economic situation is more tumultuous and volatile than ever. But that's by design. But I'm not going to criticize that. That could be political. I'm focused on economics, business practices, good policy. As a member of the consulting arm that works with local governments and provides professional staffing and consulting to help local governments. Don't go with this Chicken Little sensationalist reporting. They just get you all excited and you make decisions that are not as good as if you sit down and you calmly discuss it. I have, since I was an analyst, I was hired as an administrative analyst over 30 years ago at the city of Hemet. And I remember we were dealing with landfills. We're running out of space to put our trash. Assembly Bill, Assembly Bill, I forget the number of it, AB 95, I think it was. We were to reduce our trash going to the landfill by 25% by the year 1995 and 50% by the year 2000. Well, we accomplished those goals. Economics was a big part of it. The market influence on that helped that. We got through that. Since the 1980s and 1990s, we had some very serious water quality issues at the city of Hemet. I was working with having a fourth of our wells that had nitrates and other contaminants that were affecting the water supply and the reliability of potable water. And I remember sitting as an analyst, because I had a chair at the table, talking to the mayor. I remember Ken Wolford and other council members, Gail Benda, Harold Almonroad. I can't remember some of the other people that were there. City Manager Joe Gazzetta, Steve Temple was finance director. And we sit around talking about water quality. How are we going to fund these? What are we going to do these things to comply with the State Water Resources Control Board mandates and so forth? And we talked about the solutions. But the point was not to be Chicken Little. Oh my God, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. We've got to come up with good policy recommendations, and both business and government can work together to achieve that, but not in a Chicken Little kind of fashion. So I'm telling all of you who work in local government, state government, federal government, and business that works together, don't look at just making a profit. Don't look at creating sensationalist reporting so that this or that policy can be funded. It has to be based on science, on facts, and on economics, among the other benefits for our community and our society. So yeah, there's problems. Today we have issues with the water supply, with housing prices, food prices, materials prices. Everything keeps going up. Inflation. There's a solution, but we have to be willing to make solutions that are rational, prudent, person-made decisions, not on sensationalism. Don't buy that. Hold these folks that are saying sensational things, hold their feet to the fire until they speak the truth. Is it for economic reasons that they're reporting this? Is there some bias? Is there some advantage? 1 out of 3 of us that are here on this LinkedIn network are college graduates. College taught us to think objectively, without bias, not to be fooled into having these partisan and totally divisive kinds of approaches to how we make decisions. We need to come together with data as good partners to come up with solutions to our problems. So again, think critically and objectively, and don't let Chicken Little affect your prudent decisions that you need to be making. And I'm always here to take a call or an email from any of you who wants to have a conversation. We're going to be here for a long time, until God says. So in the meantime, we have responsibility to be good stewards, whether it's business or government organizations or anything else. Don't let Chicken Little, the sky is falling, influence your decisions that should be long-term oriented. All for now, John Herrera with Munitemps and the City Speak podcast and blog. Thanks for joining in with me today. And one last thing that I would just say is that see what you can do to help your organization by helping with good news and positive decisions. Have a good day. Bye-bye.